The Sam Browne belt is a wide belt, usually leather, supported by a narrower strap passing diagonally over the right shoulder. It is most often a part of a military or police uniform. Origins. Sam Browne VC was a British Army officer serving in India in the 19th century. In those days officers always carried a sword into battle. It hung from a small metal clip on the waist belt, called a frog. However, the scabbard tended to slide around a lot when they charged the enemy, meaning that it had to be steadied with the left hand before being drawn. During the Indian Rebellion of 1857 in India, Captain Sam Browne was serving with the 2nd Punjab Irregular Cavalry. On August 31, 1858, Captain Browne was involved in the fighting near Soapwara. As he charged a cannon being reloaded, he was attacked by one of its crew. Browne received 2 sword cuts, one on the left knee and one which severed his left arm at the shoulder. He survived the injuries but, without a left hand, he found that he was now unable to control or draw his sword. Browne came up with the idea of wearing a second belt which went over his right shoulder and held the scabbard in just the spot he wanted. This would hook into a heavy leather belt with D-rings for attaching accessories. It also securely carried a pistol in a flap holster on his right hip and included a binocular case with a neck strap. Other cavalry officers in the Indian Army began wearing a similar rig and soon it became part of the standard uniform. During the Boer War, the rig was copied by Imperial and Commonwealth troops and eventually became standard issue. Infantry officers wore a variant that used 2 suspender-like straps instead of the crossed belt. It was supposedly invented in 1878 by Lieutenant Sir Basil Templar Graham Montgomery, 5th Baronet of the 60th Rifles while serving in India. There has been a great deal of discussion as to whether Browne modified Graham Montgomery's design or vice versa. Since there were no patents issued for either design and both camps have accounts backing up their claims, it may never be decided. Usage. Due to its former use as equipment for carrying a sword, it is traditionally only worn by those to whom a sword would historically have been issued, namely officers and warrant officers. Throughout most of its modern history, however, its main function has been to carry a pistol, and it was found to be particularly useful with the heavy pistols typically used during the first part of the 20th century. Finland. In the Finnish Army the Sam Browne belt, officially known as a command belt, or officer belt, has been used by officers and senior NCOs as well as officer cadets when wearing service, dress or parade uniforms. Currently it is mainly used by high-ranking officers during parades and other ceremonies, as it's only worn with dress uniform M58 and service uniform M83. While most Army and Air Force personnel, excluding cadets studying in the National Defense College as well as soldiers on ceremonial duties, use the camouflage uniform M05 as their service uniform, and the use of the command belt with any camouflage uniform except M62 is strictly forbidden. Axis powers. The Sam Browne belt featured prominently in many uniforms used by the Nazi Party in Germany, again in imitation of earlier European uniforms. It was popular with Adolf Hitler and other leading Nazi officials. United Kingdom and the Commonwealth. In the 20th century it was a mainstay in the British Army Officers' Corps, being adopted service-wide in 1900 during the Second Boer War after limited use in India, and later becoming popular with military forces throughout the Commonwealth. After World War II the Sam Browne belt saw a decline in use in the Commonwealth. It was dropped from the standard officer's uniform in 1943. However, officers, and warrant officer Class 1 of the British Army and Royal Marines still wear it in formal dress and in some versions of full dress. It was phased out by the Canadian military beginning with the unification of the armed services in 1968. In Australia all officers are entitled to wear the belt in ceremonial dress. Warrant officers bearing the rank of W01 are also entitled to wear the belt. Within the core of the Australian Army there is some variation, with members of the Royal Australian Armoured Corps, Royal Australian Army Nursing Corps and Australian Army Aviation Corps wearing black Sam Browne belts. Rifle belt. A different arrangement from the traditional Sam Browne belt consists of a similar wide belt with 2 vertical supporting straps, one over each shoulder. The design put the burden of the gear, with its heavy ammo pouches on the belt and straps, on both shoulders. It was worn by the officers of British and Commonwealth rifle regiments, who had to carry a rifle as their service arm rather than a pistol. It was also worn by big game hunters in Africa and India in the late 19th and mid-20th centuries. It is often seen worn in movies or TV shows as part of the costume of explorers or big game hunters. Its invention is falsely attributed to Sam Browne. It was actually invented by Lieutenant Basil Templar Graham Montgomery of the 60th Rifles while he was on service in India. Although a case of simultaneous development, Graham Montgomery was seen as a plagiarist. United States During World War I, the Sam Browne belt was approved by General Pershing, commander of the AF, for wear by American officers as a rank distinction. However, the Army as a whole did not immediately approve its use. MPs were positioned at Stateside docks who confiscated them from returning officers. The United States Army mandated the Sam Browne belt for overseas soldiers in 1918 under the name Liberty Belt, and for all service members in 1921, this time under the internationally accepted name Sam Browne belt. It was a standard part of the uniform between World War I and World War II. It was limited in use in 1940 when the Army abandoned sabers and replaced with a cloth waist belt that was sewn to the officer's jacket. During World War I the Marine Corps adopted a brown leather Sam Browne belt. It was later changed to black, the official color of Navy and Marine Corps leather gear. It is worn as part of the dress uniform by sword-bearing commissioned officers and enlisted non-commissioned officers in the Corps today. Senior drill instructors wear the sword frog on a modified version as a sign of their office during recruit training. After the First World War, Sam Browne belts become almost universal among American police. The utility belts worn today by American police usually lack the cross strap and the attachments for them. The belt fastens in the same way, with the bar of the buckle engaging a pair of hooks and the end of the belt retained by a post and keeper loop. They are also frequently fully lined, as opposed to the old-style half linings, to support equipment the length of the belt. Use in police forces worldwide. The Sam Browne belt is largely obsolete in police and security use due to risk of strangulation by potential opponents. It has sometimes been referred to as a suicide belt by personnel. It had enjoyed some popularity with civilian police agencies worldwide and was probably most widely worn in this context during the 1940s and 1950s. This use has gradually faded out due to field safety concerns. It is part of the ceremonial dress uniform of many agencies, most notably the red serge worn by the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. In Australia, a white Sam Browne belt and strap is worn by the Victoria Police Mounted Unit, the New South Wales Police Force VIP Cyclists, Protocol Inspector and Protocol Sergeant, NSW Police Academy Senior Protocol Officer and Parade Sergeant wear a black-coloured leather basket-weave Sam Browne belt and strap with silver-coloured fittings as a badge of office. The same Sam Browne belt is also worn by the Australian Federal Police Ceremonial Mounted Cadre and AFP drill instructors. In Italy, a black Sam Browne belt with red trim is still worn by Carabinieri warrant officers and officers. A white Sam Browne belt is also worn by Italian police enlisted personnel. In Ireland, a black Sam Browne belt is worn by Garda Síochána officers of the rank of inspector and above when the tunic is worn. Safety. The Sam Browne belt has been proposed as a solution to occupational safety and health concerns about injury due to the weight of equipment on police officers' belts. However, others have expressed concern that the vertical design of the belt could enable criminals to gain physical control of law enforcement officers in an altercation. Civilian use. During the interwar period, the belt became fashionable among some American and European women. Eleanor Roosevelt, the First Lady of the United States at the time, openly spoke out against the practice. The belts also became a symbol of civilian authority by everybody from bus drivers to volunteer schoolboy traffic cops. The belts used by junior safety patrol members became iconic. Since the 1970s, the use of Sam Browne belts has increased in popularity within the queer BDSM leather subculture. Reflective Sam Browne belts are a popular safety device among cyclists for increasing their visibility, and a bright orange version is often worn by school crossing guards and junior safety patrols. Professional wrestler The Big Boss Man wore a Sam Browne belt as part of his ring attire, which was meant to emulate the uniforms of law enforcement officers. See also, Police Duty Belt, Junior Safety Patrol. References. External links, Sam Browne and Beyond, A Look.